When the new supply contacts you. Welcome to narcfreeformula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me, lovelies. Today's episode is about when the new supply contacts you. So we all know that we shouldn't try and warn the new supply. There are four main reasons why we don't. Because A, they probably won't believe it. B, it helps cement the stories about you as a crazy ex who just can't get over him. He'll say and do anything. So essentially it cements his lies. Thirdly, it can backfire badly because the new supply doesn't believe you. So she will run back to the narcissist and tell him everything you've just said. And there can be horrible repercussions from that. And finally, because we have to focus on ourselves and our own healing, we need to not worry about the new supply and the narcissist and their situationship and whatever's going on over there. You know, we've been there. We know what's going on. We don't need to involve ourselves in that. So what about when the new supply reaches out and contacts you? This is something that happens a lot. A lot. And to be honest, I've had a few little situations occur myself, a few little coincidences, people contacting me with the same name at my email address, and I don't know, just things. I mean, I don't know if it is the person. I've never responded, so, you know, it could be, it may not be, I don't know. And I don't care, because in my particular situation, I would not be responding to the new supply at all. But if you, for some reason, feel inclined to talk to the new supply, so, you know, and I can understand why, you know, because there's that sense of, you know, being able to say, see, I told you so, or, you know, being validated, having your own experience validated. I understand why people would want to talk to the new supply, but as I said, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but if you do want to, I have some clear kind of guidelines, I suppose, about it. This is the kind of thing I would suggest. I would say, make sure it's like one session only. So, you know, you talk to them once, not be there as a, you know, a counselor, a therapist. You know, the fact is the new supply needs to go and actually speak to someone professionally. Someone who's actually qualified and trained, who can help them navigate their way through this. You know, you are not that person. It's going to bring up a lot of stuff for you, you know, and set you back in your own healing journey. Having to relive, you know, those memories, those experiences, because let's face it, a lot of them are going to be a lot of her stories are going to be exactly like your stories. So it can't help but trigger you rehearing it. So I would definitely say keep it to one session only, remembering that everything you say can get back to the narcissist. So either she goes back and has another argument with him, and in that conversation says, well, you know, your ex said the same thing, or she said blah, blah, blah. Or even worse, if she goes back to him and then they spend, you know, nights lying up in bed talking about it, about what you said and about how you play the victim and how you this and that. Because you've got to remember, you know, she is the victim of a narcissist. They are so manipulative, and just like a cult leader, you know, once she goes back, she will turn against anyone who tried to keep her away from him. He knows exactly what to say. She'll be saying it herself. You know, she'll go from thinking about you one way to thinking about you another way, and it's all because the narcissistic spin, the things that he says about you, the implications, the subtle little innuendo. You know, narcissists are so good at this. And And she wants to be loved by him. I mean, we all go into these relationships wanting to be loved, and we don't realise, and the narcissist has us working so hard to be loved that, we don't realise at the time that there's never an actual way to get through to them. We still think that, if we do this, or if we try that, or if we act a certain way or do a certain thing, that they'll go back to being the way they were in the beginning. And so if she goes back to him, she's going to be doing all of that stuff. And as I said, will spill the beans on you. Any loyalty to you will be out the window. So you need to remember that. If you're going to talk to her, just imagine that everything you say is going to go straight back to the narcissist. And another point is that she is not trusting herself at all. She's reaching out to you to have you validate her own experience, to have you say, oh yes, it is as bad as you think, because he did blah, 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 blah to me. And the problem with that is that just like you can talk her into believing her own experience, the narcissist can also talk her out of believing her own experience. So one of the key pieces of advice I would suggest is, if you're going to talk to the new supply, keep telling her to trust herself, her instinct and her intuition. Because that's the greatest gift you can give someone. You can get someone to actually trust themselves and actually believe in themselves. You don't need to help them in any other way. They'll figure it out. So just remember, this is not your job. You've got your own healing to focus on. And there is a risk, to be honest, that, you may actually have some kind of friendship form over this shared trauma, because, you both feel like you've been part of the same cult that no one understands. And that's a very real thing. People do form friendships with the exes. But the problem with that is the entire foundation of the friendship is built on something that is so low level and toxic. And that every time you spend time with her or talk to her, you're going to remember exactly, the narcissist and how you felt then. It's an anchor. It acts as an anchor to the past that you are trying to forget and trying to move on from. So it's a constant reminder, and it's just not healthy. And this is not to say that, that all of the new supply and the former supply are going to form these great friendships, but some of them do, because a lot of these people who, fall for narcissists, myself included, were lonely at the time. And so when you've got someone who's lonely and you, like I said, and you feel like you have this connection because you both understand where you've been, you both understand the abuse you've experienced, and it's something that most people just do not understand, it is possible to have these strange friendships form. So that's my kind of key advice there. Keep it to the absolute minimum, one session only. Remember everything that he says, that you say to her will go back to him. And put yourself first. Just focus on you and your healing. This is not your job or your responsibility. She's a grown woman. You have your own healing to focus on. All right, lovelies. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.